Music is the air that I breathe. It's a language that I speak, and for as much as I practiced my talk, what I didn't rehearse was this, the music that I'm playing for you. I chose to let the music lead. Sometimes it feels like I'm playing the crystal singing bowls, but more often it feels as though these bowls are playing me. For centuries, singing bowls have been a staple, a fixture of spiritual ceremonies. The crystal bowls only arriving in the 1990s, thanks to a revolution from Silicon Valley and personal computer technology. But for some reason, the bowls have never made it into mainstream professional music. There's no conservatory to get into for crystal singing bowls. There's no specific technique. There's no textbook yet. As a young musician, it never occurred to me that music could play me and feel so freeing. You see, I started piano when I was 2 years old. I could read music before I read words. I played multiple instruments growing up, and I went to a performing arts high school where I became centered towards a need of perfection. So for hours every day, I would practice my violin, the hardest sections, playing over and over and over, earning principal chairs and migraine headaches along the way. But what I learned was how to fine-tune these specific frequencies and understand how these notes, these frequencies, work together. Now, my conductor, Mr. Thielen, amazing violinist, he really impressed on us the importance of accuracy. And as an imposing man of 6'4" with a big burly beard and eyes that could peer straight through your head, through the head of the person behind you, you listened. So accuracy, perfection. Well, I graduated, and my first official, professional, big girl gig. Who's my stand partner? Mr. Thielen, Mr. Accuracy himself. Our conductor, Maestro Anton Coppola. Yeah, you don't know anything about classical music, but you know that name, Coppola. Same family. I'm gonna make you an offer you can't refuse. Same guy. So the pinnacle of the need for perfection. And here I am terrified of missing the mark. So every night, thousands of listeners would lose themselves in the melodious strains of the opera Madame Butterfly, and I am petrified of every single note I'm about to play. Well, eventually the terror went away, and I did. I went on and performed with symphony orchestras, pops orchestras. I've sang, danced, acted on Broadway, in movies. I've even written music for movies. I have a Billboard Top 40 radio hit, and my music's been blessed by the Pope, and I'm not Catholic. I think that still counts, I'm not sure. But it really wasn't until recently that I gave myself permission to just let go, to have the same type of experience of freedom that a listener feels when being carried away by the music. Enter the crystal singing bowls, where there's no set paradigm or structure, perfection that you have to attain or connect to. Music that can be felt, experienced, can bring you to tears, change your emotions, shift your physiology, as if instantaneously. Now, I started playing crystal singing bowls in probably one of the worst seasons of my life, when one of my best friends, my hero, my dad, received an aggressive stage 4 cancer diagnosis. And something inside me just stopped. The music just wouldn't play. I couldn't wrap my brain around how this all-American powerhouse Vietnam War veteran, Special Forces Green Beret, bronze medalist at the International Karate Games, could be challenged basically by a little cell that was vibrating out of tune. Anxiety just overwhelmed me, and I needed to breathe. I needed to make music, but I couldn't go back to that world where perfection was the only thing I could see. I just didn't have it in me. And the crystal bowls felt nice, but they sounded a little bit limited, at least at first, to my classical ear, and here's why. So when crystal bowls are purchased in sets, they come with exactly 7 7 notes, which is basically the white keys on a piano. Lovely, a little boring. We're missing the juicy and delicious chromaticism of those 5 black keys. So, as any classical musician would, I put together my own set of 13 bowls. The 7 white keys, the 5 black keys, and of course, the octave on top, because I just couldn't bring myself to not. And you know what? Perfection was totally out the window. These bowls are literally tuned at the factory. I can't screw it up. And no one could tell me I was playing wrong. So, without anything to lose, I just started playing. And my mood shifted. And I noticed I began to feel better. And that's when I discovered that researchers in Italy actually showed how listening to music tuned to 432 hertz, like these crystal singing bowls, can change our physiology. They can actually lower, it can decrease our blood pressure, it can decrease our heart rate, it can improve our sleep, it can even mitigate pain. So I kept playing. And I started doing online live streams, really honing the artistry and the technique with the precision of a classical musician, but feeling something I had never felt before with any of the instruments, not the violin, the piano, the voice, none of them. For the first time, it felt like I was actually healing. Like somehow these higher harmonics were somehow lifting my spirit, bringing me peace from the inside out. And patterns began to emerge from the bowls in ways I had never witnessed before either. And patterns we use all the time in classical music. Think about those 12 white and black keys on a keyboard moving all the way up and down a piano. 12 notes that repeat. And notes, their frequency, something that we define as a pitch, like this. 432 hertz, or 432 wave cycles per second. A note, a pitch. And when we play 2 notes at the same time, what we call the space in between these 2 notes is an interval. Now, intervals have rather conventional names, like a major third, a minor seventh, very dramatic, a tritone. Well, these are just tools in a composer's toolkit, something that every music major learns. But what I noticed when playing these sustained intervals was suddenly not only how my mood was shifting, but my listener's mood as well. Some intervals would leave them feeling relaxed, rejuvenated. Others would make them feel a little anxious or uneasy. And that's when it hit me. This simple concept is not taught. You see, great composers intuitively use intervals to create incredible melodies and harmonies that just move and affect the listener. Take John Williams, for instance, the composer of Star Wars, a movie whose characters are strictly based on archetypes. Let's take a quick listen. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, we meet an archetypal hero, Luke Skywalker, who lives in an ordinary world until he receives a call to journey, to go beyond, to help, to serve. And in doing so, literally saves the galaxy. The archetypal lover, a princess named Leia, who longs for harmony, connection, community. We fall in love with a rebel, Han Solo, who brings just enough dissonance to make the world a place of perfect chaos. Enough and so, the lover can become her own hero. Now, our heroes meet characters along the way, like a magician named Yoda, a sage named Obi-Wan Kenobi, and even their nemesis, Darth Vader, until a change of heart for all leads us into the next octave of our story. These characters are all based on archetypes. Archetypes were first introduced by Carl Jung, the founder of analytical psychology. Now, Carl Jung influenced the writings of Joseph Campbell and his seminal work, The Hero's Journey, which is the foundation of all modern storytelling. The Hero's Journey is what inspired a young Hollywood filmmaker named George Lucas. Now, what if we thought of sound in the same way that we think of storytelling? Just as there are archetypes in stories, could there be archetypes of sound? Like this, a tritone, or perhaps, like our friend Yoda, a magician, one who bends time and space with mystery and illusion, making us question what we once thought to be real. Originally called the Devil's Interval, no joke, the tritone was actually forbidden to be used at all in sacred music, the church forefathers preferring the beauty and the sonority of the perfect fifth. The tritone had its way of sneaking back in. It can be heard in music genres from heavy metal, like Black Sabbath, to Beethoven, to Leonard Bernstein, to Jimi Hendrix' Purple Haze, to the girl from Ipanema. Charming, mysterious, the tritone, a magician, an archetype of sound. This accidental discovery has revolutionary potential. By understanding the archetypes of sound, composers can tap into these mood-altering effects of these intervals. Musicians of any age or expertise can actually use these formulas with reliable results, which means listeners can select music that can actively shift your mental or emotional state. Now, Mind Lab International showed how listening to certain music can decrease anxiety by up to 65%, almost instantaneously. Albert Einstein once said, "Future medicine will be the medicine of frequencies." And now suddenly his idea of music as medicine seems so much more real. So forget about perfection. Tune into your emotions and allow music to shift